Recently, ITIC council members travelled to Brussels to meet EU officials, discuss tourism issues with MEPs, see the workings of the European Parliament, and gather with guests for a networking evening. The day in Brussels started with an ITIC council meeting, and EU policy officer Misa Labaril briefed members on how tourism policy is formulated in Brussels. Misa, here we are in Brussels. We're about to have our council meeting. What do you think the day is going to hold for us?
I think loads of exchanges, and I hope loads of exchanges. The European Commission works with as many stakeholders that we can, and for the longest time we couldn't talk to Ireland very much. But in the past 2-3 years, I think we've built a great relationship. We talk a lot. Dublin is the 2024 capital of smart tourism, so I think there's a lot there that we can discuss, that we can learn from.
Brussels is kind of the heart of Europe. The Parliament is the main decision maker in terms of legislation that will affect every EU state, including Ireland. So it's important that we have representation here in Brussels.
ITIC members visited the European Parliament to discuss tourism priorities with European officials. Meetings were had with Irish MEPs Barry Andrews, Billy Kelleher, Sean Kelly and Luke Ming Flanagan. A valuable day of meetings, briefings and learnings. With so much tourism, travel and hospitality legislation coming from Brussels, it is vital that the Irish tourism industry can influence things. Elena, how have you found the visit to the European Parliament?
So delighted to be here with 45 members of the Irish Tourism Industry Confederation. So to bring 45 of our tourism leaders together has been absolutely fantastic. Just to get a sense of what happens in Europe. 70% of our law comes from Europe, and the impact of that in terms of policy formation, funding, etc. It's been really, really enlightening. I suppose what really hammers home is just the importance of Europe.
The day finished with a networking evening where guests from European tourism organisations were invited to share common opportunities and challenges. With European elections coming up on June the 7th, the 24 hours spent in Brussels by the Irish Tourism Industry Confederation offered an invaluable insight into how European policy is made and can be influenced. It is vital that Irish tourism's voice is heard. Paul, have you enjoyed the trip to Brussels?
I've had a great day, yeah thanks Owen. I've really enjoyed meeting the European Parliament people and seeing how a lot of that works. Most importantly, spending time with this group of people that we usually meet for an hour or so once a quarter. To spend a day with them has been excellent.
Wonderful to be part of the ITIC delegation visiting Brussels over the last day or so. Got to meet so many of our ITIC colleagues, which was new for me. It's my first ITIC council meeting, but also to understand how I suppose governments work. And also, of course, given the fact that the European Parliament and EU has such an impact on how things are done in Ireland, and that 70% of our laws are created in the European Parliament, it's incredible to see how that works.
How have you enjoyed the day in Brussels?
Just waiting to return to Dublin now after a really productive day here in Brussels. It was a great opportunity to connect and even to reconnect with the EU. It's so important to us. we probably don't give it enough attention. Tourism policy is not just created in Dublin, it's created here as well.
70% of Irish legislation comes from Europe. Britain's departure from the EU has made Ireland's job tougher. It is vital that we have strong pro-enterprise and pro-tourism representation in the European Parliament, and that business organisations like ITIC have their voice heard.